Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About It, where today we are talking about some advanced cybersecurity tools called EDR and MDR. So, Sean, EDR, I think a lot of people have heard this term. What exactly does that stand for?
EDR stands for Endpoint Detection and Response. And it's a very well talked about acronym now. And of course, we love to use acronyms in the IT world.
In the IT world, that's all we have, isn't it?
It is.
So what exactly is this product and why do we need it?
So EDR is, think of it as a kind of an extension of your antivirus. It's really much more advanced. Antivirus always needed signatures to work that you would download and look for specific viruses. EDR is much different than that. It looks for changes on your system, and then it's able to when it does feel that you're being attacked by something, it has the ability to be able to remove your system and basically sandbox it from the network. So if you have an infection, it doesn't go well beyond that and infect the rest of the network.
Well, that's huge then. And so you're saying this is in combination to an antivirus. This is not a replacement. This will be something you'd put in combination with your
Yeah,
antivirus.
not a replacement. It works with your antivirus and it's working in the background. And again, just looking for changes in the system and policies on the system, and it's running all the time. So it's constantly looking for that sort of change that it believes you're under attack.
Interesting. Now, is this going to take a lot of resources on the computer? Remember the old days, the antiviruses used to slow machines down terribly. You had to go and pick and choose which one you're going to use depending on the resources it took. Is this an addition? Is this going to kill our memory on the
Yeah,
machine?
not
Or
no. It takes very minimal resources, and the great thing about it, it runs in the background, and assuming that everything is running fine, you really don't hear from it, and it requires no interaction from the user. But
understood.
it's become a very important part of your cybersecurity stack to keep you protected.
Now, I'm sure a lot of people are watching are thinking like, "Oh, I bet you this is expensive." Is this something that would be quite expensive compared to an antivirus or similar? Or?
It generally runs around the same price as an antivirus, and again, it will work in conjunction with your antivirus, whether you have an additional antivirus or whether you're using, for instance, Microsoft's Windows Defender, which would come on your system. So it
Understood.
works in conjunction with those.
So you'd want to have both then? You couldn't use this instead of an antivirus?
You would have an antivirus by default anyway if you're running the Windows operating system.
Gotcha.
You're going to have Windows Defender, but you can add an antivirus to it for more protection for sure.
Understood.
And it will work with any antivirus. They'll work in conjunction.
Understood. Now, one of the main components you talked about, I think that's important to highlight, is that it contains the machine. It gets it into a sandbox, I think you called it, getting it off the network. Is that true? It'll literally remove that machine from the network?
Yeah, that's a really big deal because antivirus traditionally, if it found something severe, it would try cleaning it, and it may not be able to remove it. Whereas EDR will actually contain the machine, so it will essentially remove it from the network, so that
Gives us a chance to clean it up and do what we
exactly,
got to
yeah.
do with it.
So if you do have malware that's infiltrated your system, it stops it from going beyond that and infiltrating other systems on the network.
So it's pretty powerful. I mean, you mentioned something there that made me think the antivirus as well, as you said, it would detect something, sometimes could clean it, sometimes not. I think the important thing to remember about all these products is that they're kind of monitored on the back end, right? There's going to be alerts that are popped up to our guys. Our technicians are watching these alerts to find out that yes, the antivirus tried to do something that couldn't. So the monitored management and management of the system is what one of the main things we propose all the time. I think that's important to highlight is that somebody's actually watching the alerts when these things are happening.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a huge part of it. Like EDR by itself, yes, it will try and remove the system from the network. Obviously, at some point, you want to get that system back
back
on
on
the
the
network,
network.
so you want to be able to work again. But generally, what happens with it, it does produce alerting for any minor issues, and then that's up to whoever is watching it to look after that. So as part of EDR, you usually have another component which is called MDR. So that's managed detection and response, and that involves another acronym, what is referred to as a SOC, not the kind you wear, but it's a
I don't wear
SOC,
socks, but
which is a security operations center. So really, the way to properly use an EDR is with the MDR component, the managed component, and you have someone watching it 24/7. And these security operations center, that's what they do. That's their particular expertise. That they're looking at the alerting, they're looking out also at things like the logs from your firewall, to ensure that nobody's getting to your network.
well, that's cool. Let's just back up a little bit there. It was a nice segue, by the way. So just to clarify for people watching, there's another component to an EDR that's called MDR. Not necessarily combined. Sometimes they are combined. But Sean will clarify a little bit that it's a whole separate thing as opposed to your EDR. Alerts will get generated for sure. One of our guys are going to be watching those. We, as the IT firm, will need to get involved and remediate that problem. Whereas with the MDR, the SOC, how many more acronyms can we add in? The SOC will be watching kind of on our behalf. So it's not necessarily the IT firm that's dealing with that issue. It's going to be a managed operations center that's going to be looking at that, trying to remediate immediately, things like that. So maybe just clarify MDR versus EDR. Is there an additional cost again? Is this another product we add on? Are they?
They generally work hand in hand. So the adding the MDR component is a small cost but big value, because then you have a proper security operations center watching the
Watching out.
alerts, watching what is taking place. They're able to, if for some reason that the system didn't get contained properly, they're able to step in and do that. So it will also look for things that may be at the alert level that may require some additional remediation, and that's generally 24/7.
Well,
And
that's what I was just going to say. So just to be clear, it's not that we can't do the job or don't want to do the job, but these guys are in addition to us, right? To be
so that we
watching
need to sleep.
24/7. We need to sleep at some point. Yeah, but yeah. So these guys are kind of in addition to us, and they're watching what's happening in the off hours when we're not there, not able to.
Yeah,
And
and unfortunately, that sometimes people forget about. Like, obviously, their network's still active, they're connected to the internet. So a lot of times, overnight is when
things
a lot
happen.
of
Yeah,
attacks take place.
yeah.
And you may not realize it, but there's a lot of potential attackers trying to connect to you over those midnight hours.
Well, we hope this brought value to you. I think this is a great topic to have addressed. It's definitely time for people to think about these additional components when they're protecting their endpoints. We will be going into some other things that are related to cybersecurity and that in the next few sessions. So stay tuned and come back, and hopefully we'll see you next week.